everybody. My name is Lucas Reset, and I am going to be informing everybody on how we can improve biking to campus at Westchester University. So, as you all might know, most people who commute close by to campus usually rely on other vehicles like their cars, the bus, etc. I know how that these might be the easiest options for commuting to campus. However, they aren't. Now, I know, like, if you live far away, like, driving is about your only option because sometimes the bus might not even pick up to where you need to go, and if you only just commute from far away. But otherwise, if you live like a couple miles from campus, I think biking should definitely be considered. One reason for most of the time is parking because that is rather difficult to find whenever it comes to taking your own vehicle. And since we have very limited parking spaces here at Westchester University, it would be harder to find spots, and then it can make you late to class, work, etc. So, next off, public transportation is a better idea than taking your car. However, this can also be a problem because there might not be enough, meaning you won't be able to access the bus stop at times or the bus could be full. So, however, like with biking, you won't really run into these problems much around Westchester University. Now, how could we be able to get people to bike to campus? So, one way of doing this is we improve the bike infrastructure. So, as many of you have probably already seen, there are a whole bunch of bike racks that is placed all throughout the entire campus for people who like to bike to campus. And bikes and scooters, they all get used when they can't bring them into the building. So, however, we could definitely add more because that way more people would be able to use it if people actually want to bike to campus. So, here is like a list of some ways we can improve bike infrastructure. So, the first thing is adding covered bike racks to protect it from rain and snow. You want to be out of the rain and snow so your bikes don't get all rusty, like from them being all wet and things like that. And then another thing is being able to offer bike lockers and indoor storage for long-term or overnight use, especially for all the residents. So that, like, Westchester does not have those right now, but that could definitely be something just even outside of the dorms would definitely help us as a whole. Next off, adding more bike lanes. So, by creating dedicated, protected bike lanes leading from residential areas to campus, like South High Street, Sharpless Street, or Rosedale Avenue, is because they're on main roads and they definitely should have bike lanes because those roads get busy and you'd want to be separated from the traffic. Also, if you paint like bike boxes at intersections to give cyclists a head start when the lights turn green, that way, like that way they won't be all throughout the traffic and they won't be near traffic and they can be safe from it. And if we add more signage and green painted lanes to alert drivers that bikes have the right of way, that would definitely be a fourth option for sure. And that way people could still be able to want to bike to campus but also be safe while biking. How can biking be beneficial to students? So, however, as we discussed earlier, biking is beneficial one way because this way you won't have to deal with finding parking all over campus. Like earlier, we are kind of aware that parking has been just a nightmare for a lot of students and has making students late because of how limited it is and also of how hard it is like just to find it all around Westchester. So if we choose biking, it won't be as much of a big deal. But there are also benefits to biking to campus as well. One other basic benefit for biking is that it is very good for your health. So by strengthening your heart, lowering blood pressure, and increasing circulation, biking lowers your risk of heart disease and stroke improvements, cardiovascular health. This is usually supposed to be good exercise for students, especially if you start now at a young age. You can end up liking biking and continue to do it when you get older. Now we are going to move into the safety for new bikers. So any of your bikers out there and people who do end up deciding to bike to campus, these are some safety tips that you definitely must know about. We are going to discuss where the safe routes are here in Westchester. So as you know, there aren't necessarily any bike lanes, but there are still ways that you can safely plan out your biking from point A to point B. One way you could do this is check out the website Delaware Valley Regional Planning Commission at dvrpc.org/Ruti, R-U-T-I. Then you can go to the map and type in the location of where you would like to bike to and from. So as you can see, like this is an example map of the safest possible route to go biking from downtown Westchester to the campus. Like the best route to take is Church Street. Now we are going to move into some factors of safety while biking the campus. So for the very first factor while biking, first and foremost, you must always wear a helmet and bike gloves so it prevents you from getting hurt. And next off, you want to make sure you stay far off to the side of the road as much as possible to be out of traffic's way, but no biking on the sidewalk either because of pedestrians. And then some other cool factors that are good to learn are the use of a bicycle in weather conditions where snow and ice is present are inherently dangerous. Whether the air temperature is near 32 degrees Fahrenheit, freezing conditions may exist on the ground that cause a rider to lose control of the bicycle. No bicycle should be used in freezing, snowy, or icy conditions. Risks from weather conditions can be reduced, but not eliminated, by seeking the appropriate shelter when inclement weather approaches, aka if it's thunderstorms, even heavy rain, torrential rain, things like that. Always try and find shelter immediately. And then risks from heat or cold exposure can be reduced but not eliminated by dressing appropriately for conditions and taking shelter when needed. Now that we have had a proper discussion on all the reasons on how we can improve biking, I highly encourage all of you students who live close by to the campus to bike to campus rather than taking your vehicle or the bus. This way, if you allow enough time to take the bike to class and leave at a perfect time, you can be able to arrive to class at a reasonable time. And this way, you can also avoid problems with parking or missing the bus or the train. Thank you all very much for watching, and I hope this will change your mind about commuting by biking to class.